What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome back to MKO Pugilism, aka MKO Boxing, where we talk all things boxing. And yeah, let's get into it. Remember to like and subscribe on YouTube, follow on TikTok, all that good stuff. So, yeah, this is just a brief one today about a bit of the weekend's boxing action over in Ireland, where we had Jazza Dickens defending his world title against the Andy Town Capace. Sorry, I mean Apache Cacace. So Anto Cacace versus Jazza Dickens, or Jazza Dickens versus Anto Cacace. And this was a fight where it was pretty much a fight of two halves, where you had Jazza Dickens doing very well in the early part of the fight, sort of, for me at least, taking the lead in those first sort of 4, 5, 6 rounds. He was sort of the man in the ascendancy. It wasn't like a whitewash or anything, but he was sort of getting the better of things early on in the fight and doing quite well, using his feints, using his bobbing and weaving, using that lateral movement, and having his way with quite a few of those early rounds. But then, as happens in a lot of these 12 rounders, Anto Cacace sort of caught up with him in those latter rounds, especially the sort of between 9 to 12, the championship rounds. Anto Cacace sort of turned things around and began to find his groove, began to be landing the shots. And it was one of those fights where you had Jazza Dickens, as I said, doing very well, but then Cacace, he sort of made the adjustment. He made the fight his own later on in the fight, and then he sort of took those latter rounds, and that's how he won the fight. He kind of adjusted to what Jazza Dickens was doing, and then began to, in those later rounds, use the long levers, use his good combinations, and he just sort of, those latter rounds, he was outlanding Jazza Dickens and just kind of outboxing him, really. Just outworking him, outboxing him. And Jazza Dickens didn't really have anything in the arsenal to sort of swing the fight back in his favor. So it was one of those where, as I said, it was going one guy's way in the beginning, and then towards the end, it became a Cacace fight. And although I think it was either the 11th, I think it was the 11th round, which was a close one where Dickens sort of gave a good effort in there, but then again, it swung back to Cacace. And, it was one of those where, as some predicted before the fight, the first half of the fight would belong to Jazza Dickens. He would do better in the beginning, and then Cacace would take over. I think that was what Carl Frampton's pick was in the beginning. So yeah, good overall performance by Cacace. Very clear win for him, but he did have to work for the victory. That's one thing I will say, is that he won. There was no confusion over who won the fight, but it was one of those where Jazza Dickens, he fought valiantly, he fought a good fight, and he made Cacace have to work for the world title. It's kind of sad in a way, because that was the first defense for Jazza Dickens, but at the same time, Anthony Cacace, he becomes a two-weight world champion now. So congratulations to him. And I understand he's now looking for unification fights and looking for unification with Navarrete as the next fight. So yeah, that should be good. That'll be a good fight to go into next. So he's now 37 years old, so he's got to get a move on, and he's got to sort of get things moving and strike while the iron's hot, while he's still physically well, he's still boxing well, he's still relatively fresh, not taking too much damage. So yeah, onwards and upwards. Hopefully he gets that unification fight. Let me know what you thought about this in the comments. The new champion, 2WEIGHT champion now, Anto Cacace, in Ireland, wins his world title in second weight division. So let me know what your thoughts are, and until next time, MKO Boxing, over and out.